All right, we're here with Kathleen George. We are what do they say? T minus 11 days or 11 days and counting. We're in the final stretch run of the election. So, what have you learned about this tribe as a council candidate, especially since this is your first time running?
Oh, wow. Well, I have learned that I think there are a lot of tribal members who really care about where this tribe is going. And that a lot of them don't feel like they have enough opportunities to express their thoughts about that. You know, our opportunities are somewhat limited. People can always get up at a general council meeting or Wednesday night meeting and share what's on their mind, but we really don't have too much of a process whereby we regularly ask tribal members for their input. And just through talking to folks, I've found out folks have a lot of issues that they really care about and are really wondering about. I guess the other thing I'd share is I think I've learned that, you know, like the state of Oregon or the United States of America, we are a tribe with a lot of different, I'm not sure factions is the right word, but different groups of people who really see some of the core fundamental things about our tribe differently, really see the membership and who should be allowed to be a member differently, or really see a tribe's ability to respond to the circumstances it's in today and adapt to the government and the state in which we live in today as a good thing, or other folks who really see change as a bad thing. And I think that's a real challenge for us as much as any other government. And I guess I think what I've taken from that is that whoever does end up in those council seats, like you, Chris, has a tremendous challenge to provide opportunities for the tribal membership to let them know what they think and what they feel, and to hear that, even though at times it will probably be pretty hard to resolve what are sometimes really differing opinions.
All right. Okay, so what have you learned about yourself as a person, being a tribal council candidate? There tends to be a lot of introspection involved. You interact with people you don't normally interact with. People reach out to you with challenging questions. What have you learned about Kathleen George, the person, as a council candidate this year?
Wow, that's a great question. I think I've learned that it's a good thing to step outside my comfort zone, or my previous comfort zone. So going up and talking to folks that I don't know, I've become more and more comfortable with. My natural kind of tendency is to be a bit more reserved, but when you're a candidate, I really believe that you owe it to the membership to put yourself out there, to work hard to meet as many people as you can, and to find out what's on their mind. So I really worked hard at doing that, but I can see in myself over the course of the last several months my increasing comfort in learning that doing that is a good thing. You get to meet folks that I probably wouldn't have gotten to meet before, or call them up because somebody said, hey, you know, my cousin is really interested and they want to talk about economic development and they'd like you to give them a call. The first time I did that, picking up the phone to call somebody I didn't know at all, it was really made me kind of nervous. But you get used to it and you have a fantastic conversation with somebody you didn't know before, and now somebody you're looking forward to meeting in person. And I think that's really a wonderful thing. I remember, the first time seeing the campaign website. I think I mentioned this in a previous conversation with you, and seeing, that Braden Mercier, he'd put together, I've done that before, Braden Langley, who put together such a beautiful website, but holy cow, there's my picture, and there's my name, and this is all about me. Well, yeah, that's what you have to do if you're trying to tell tribal members while you're running. So it's been a challenge, but it's been really good. There's so many people I've met this summer that I didn't know before. And getting to hear what's on their minds and what their hopes are for our tribe has been a fantastic experience.
Well, so when you talk about what separates you as a council candidate, because of your, every position you've held really, as a biologist, when you worked for Umatilla, and now as the community fund director, you engage in a lot of intergovernmental work. How do you think that will help you if you get elected?
Well, I hope it allows me to come to the table already having a lot of relationships at both the state and federal and local level that I think will be really beneficial to our tribe and our council. Yeah, I do. I have a lot of intergovernmental work in my background, and I've been fortunate to work on some fantastic projects. Just in the last couple of years, through the fund, we had the opportunity to fund the Chalkboard Project, which did the research on how Oregon tribal students are doing in the Oregon education system. But then what? It's a nice report, but what do you do with it? Well, it was fantastic to have the opportunity to work with other Oregon tribes, and just as a tribal mom, just go to the legislature as a tribal mom and share that report with my legislators and say, something's got to change. The state of Oregon's got to step up to the plate to help these tribal students who are being left behind. And the good news is that work can pay off. In this case, the Oregon tribes were able, for the first time ever, to get $1.5 million allocated to work on the Tribal Attendance Project, which is being implemented across the state right now. But that kind of work really is as simple and as difficult as people going and talking to their elected leaders about what they need and coming together, in this case as tribal people, in a united voice to make that happen. That's a project that I'm hoping is just the early steps of what will be a long process to get our tribal students the support that they need. And when I worked at Umatilla, that was a fantastic experience as well. I was able to lead an effort, again, working intertribally with the other Oregon tribes, to get the state of Oregon, in the end, after 7 years of hard work, to change Oregon water quality regulation, to recognize that tribal people have fish-rich diets, and that if we pump toxic chemicals into our rivers and streams, they get into the fish, and they get into the people that eat fish. And, Oregon state regulation never recognized that before. And there's this possibility that tribal people who have a very fish-rich diet, that their health may be at risk. And so I've been really lucky to get to work on some projects where tribes were able to come together and really change state law, change outcomes, change resource allocation, to either better protect the lives of tribal people or to better support the futures of tribal students. And I guess I just think that, in my experience, there's a lot to be learned from that model. There are times when we have to disagree with our other tribes. Our interests are not always the same. But I think we should always consider long and hard if we have more to gain through cooperating with other tribes. Because often I think when we do work together, we can accomplish great things. And I think the reality is that our tribes have more in common than we do that separates us. And so I hope that my experience creating solutions for tribal people and being able to bring that skill to the tribal council table on day one, I hope would be an asset to our tribe.